fail, tune in. It's time for Common Man. Common Man, charms the housewives like no one can. What you shoot? Word we play. Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in. It's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Just keep battling. And just keep battling and keep battling.
Totally able to regroup, then it's poked away by Burke, who takes over. Pushes it up ahead to McGregor. Holy Cross coming down with a 3-on-2. McGregor from the right side, centering feet. Oh, my God! Oh, score! Off of a rebound, puts it past Cal Briggs, and Holy Cross has knocked off the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yes!
Oh my goodness.
We're not going home yet, baby! Just 53 seconds into overtime, and the Holy Cross Crusaders are mobbing Tyler McGregor and Tony Quesada.
It's the second chance. It's the second effort, and it goes in.
Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Yes, I do! Holy Cross has shocked the world right now.
Okay, calm down.
You like that? You like that?
Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
You know, sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. You know, and you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff. The Viking defense looks like it's chairs.
Now what do you think? What do you think of that?
What do you think?
You always love that one.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm confident that we'll be world champions. And that's what I've said right from the start, and I'm still confident of that.
Oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Hip cricket's gone berserk. You know what hip cricket is, tend to be?
It's the texting
Yeah. And now it's scrolling.
platform.
And it's going backwards, and I can't get it to stop. It's going back.
Do you have like a keyboard button that's being pushed down by anything?
Oh, yeah, I did. You fixed it. That's embarrassing. And that's exactly what it was. It was, you know, the old BCM 104 microphone. It's got the... Oh, gosh. You would think I would have this memorized by now. I have it down in my notebook. I actually have a notebook on my phone. And no, you can't take credit for that. You can take credit for the calendar. I still remember that. I would race you. I could get to my calendar easy. And, you know, when it's open, you probably get to it about 1/8 of a second faster because you're staring at the calendar. But what's the difference? It's so much easier to just have it. Then I don't have to carry a big book. Then I tried to get Rose. Remember Rosen? Same thing. He's got his calendar where he pulls out the big day planner.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like 4x8.
I don't want to carry that thing around me
he
everywhere.
actually has to carry it in a suitcase. And he still likes it that way. And it's like, well, no, you can do it the other way. And you can open up your entire calendar and see every date on there. This is a...
You also, for the longest time, refused to put contact information for your phone numbers.
Yeah. Well, because I had them all memorized. And then remember, I was going to show you, and then I would start rattling off names, and I would give the area code, like the first 3 numbers, and then I would get to the 7. I used to have them all memorized. There was a time I had your number memorized. I was sort of considered, what are they call that an idiot savant? Who are the people that, do you remember Thor Tolo? You know the name anyway.
I only know the name, yeah.
Thor Tolo did mornings here for a long time. He was nuts. It was one of the greatest radio gimmicks of all time, though. I've recanted this tale before, but it was so long ago. I bet a lot of our listeners have never heard it. You know, the late summer before the football season started, there were billboards all over the Twin Cities that said, "The Pack is back." All it just appeared out of nowhere in green and gold. The Pack is back. And of course, no one could find out who was paying for these billboards, and everybody assumed it was, the Green Bay Packers, right? Trying to get us going here. The Pack is back. The Pack is back. Well, one morning they changed to back was crossed out with purple paint, and it said, "The Pack sucks." And then it said TT for Tolo. So it was his introduction into the Minneapolis market. And so then when people, so it was eye-opening, ear-catching, and then he just wasn't very good at what he did, but that's the only problem with that. But it was pretty cool. And so this is an Electro Voice RE27. An Electro Voice RE27. Oh, what I was going to say about Tolo, he was one of those guys where, like, let's say there was let's say you had a handrail from your driveway up to the steps. He could look at it and go, there are 162 slats. And you would count them, and there would be 160. You know what I'm talking about, slats, right?
Sure.
He could count them. One of those people. I don't know what they call that. There's something. I think it's like is idiot savant right, or is that wrong? That's what it seemed like I thought it was called.
Idiot savant is an outdated and offensive term.
Oh, it is?
For someone with exceptional skills in one area but severe disabilities in others.
Oh, I'm sorry if
the term has been replaced by savant syndrome or autistic savant.
No. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend anybody. What's the one what do you call the person, though, that can count like things like that? Maybe that's what it is, and they're just really good at that. But they can count. They actually just glance at something and they know exactly what the number is. They could look at you could take a bunch of do you remember the game Pickup Sticks? Did you ever play that as a kid?
I've heard you talk about it before.
Okay, so you throw out these sticks. There could be 150 of them, and you could go, there's 136 of them, just by looking down to the floor. And every single time, they're spot on. PA's on his way to Indianapolis for the combine. Two solid days, 6 hours of nonstop National Football League combine talk tomorrow. And the guest, I got a peek at the guest list. It's a who's who of the Minnesota Vikings. I think the 2024 National Football League Coach of the Year will be a guest of the Paul Allen Project. The general manager is still waiting for an extension. See, and that's the thing. Abbott asked me, would you guys have really wanted to go? And I don't know if you would have wanted to. Well, I would go if I didn't have to really do really. I mean, I wouldn't mind talking to, like, O'Connell and a couple of those people. I just don't want to talk to, like, Joe Bag of Donuts from ESPN. I guess I'd talk to Seifert. But you know what I'm saying? It's just,
I would go if the combine was next to Torrey Pines in San Diego.
Well, maybe you can. What's the weather like in Indianapolis right now? Are there any golf courses open?
I'm sure it's pretty it's warm here.
I wouldn't mind. It's just I don't want, and I'd ask a serious.
It's 50 degrees right now in Indy.
But the first thing, like, if I had O'Connell on, the first thing I'd say is, what's it like being Coach of the Year? Pretty cool, huh? Did you know you were going to get it? Were you convinced you were Coach of the Year? Would you have been bitter if you didn't get it? Like, if all of a sudden when they announce, hey, the National Football League Coach of the Year is Dan Campbell, or who's the guy for Washington?
Dan Quinn.
And the head coach of the year is, and you're starting to get up because you think it's you, right? So you're already starting, you're getting up like this. You're starting to hit your pants a little bit and, adjust your jacket and getting ready. And all of a sudden they go, it's Dan Quinn. And then all of a sudden you're already standing up, getting ready to approach the stage, right? So then you got to just do the old, like, oh, my boxers. I just got to jerk them up a little bit, right? Because you're embarrassed because you thought for sure it was you. So that's what I'd want to ask them. Were you surprised you were coach of the year, and would you have been bitter if you had not won? And then say, the other thing I'd like to know is, do you actually get a trophy? Because I didn't watch the presentation. So. Well, but do we know that? And how big of a trophy is it? Is it a little tiny trophy? I don't like to assume anything. Might have just been a medal. Might have been like to put a medal around his neck.
Maybe just a certificate.
Could be just a certificate. That's it. And then the other thing I'd ask him, you've been described as a quarterback whisperer. And what I'd like to know is, literally, are you? Like, do you go, Sam, hey, 23 toss power trap. 23 toss power trap. Do you actually whisper to him? Or do you talk because they call him a quarterback whisperer, do you whisper to him? And I don't know, by that point, O'Connell's probably wishing he wasn't even sitting there with me, right? Or would he like that better? Because I think Zimmer, former Vikings coach Mike Zimmer, he used to like when he would sit down with us over at the Meadows at Mystic Lake for the Vikings charity fund golf tournament, because he knew he wasn't going to have to answer, what are you going to do with the offensive line this year? What are things defensively? What do they think of the NFC? We'd ask him a couple of those, but we would ask him about hunting and fishing and this, that, that. And I think he appreciated those kinds of questions more, because my guess is they think to themselves, I'm more than a football coach. And I don't want to talk. I mean, I know that's what I do, and everybody wants to know what I think and where I've been, where I'm going, where I'm at. But I think they like getting a little loosey-goosey and talking about things that aren't quite so serious when it comes to the X's and the O's. But 50 degrees ain't quite enough for me. I'm with you. I'd rather be somewhere. They should hold that. They just throw Indianapolis a bone is what they do, right? Because Indianapolis might be just... Have you been to Indianapolis? It's just an awful... I've
never been there, no.
Awful city. There's no redeeming qualities there at all, except for the Indy 500.
Except for their hotels and convention centers, apparently.
Yeah, and the Indy 500 is pretty cool. Other than I've been to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Never during the race. I was just there passing through. They let you come in there and tour the place. They actually have a golf course at the Indianapolis 500. They have a 9-hole golf course in the middle of the oval.
Really?
I'm not making it up to you.
I'd love to play it.
Look it up. Well, that's what we could have done. We could have played there, but I'm glad we're here. Weather's nice. A number of topics to get to. Very controversial Vikings news and other items as well. Some off the beaten path, too. As a matter of fact, I got a question for you on the other side of the break, Tenneby. But right now, Tenneby, I think, has wants to put a grand.
I don't know if I have that or not. So let's pass on it for now.
Oh, well, that would be strange, but I guess that's cool. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. It's the Common Man program here on The Fan.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Brad, Shaw, and Brian text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
Double 1314 pastime common. He is Tenneby, no Mark Rosen. He's here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, beginning at 2 o'clock. Wednesday, it's the Ben Johnson Show. Head coach of the soon-to-be NCAA champion, the Minnesota Gophers, will be here from noon until 1 o'clock. Not here. They do it from the Tipsy Steer, I think, right? I know that's where...
I feel like they don't do it.
They don't do it at the Tipsy Steer? I guess that's only for the PJ Flex Show. But Grim and JG will be your co-hosts of that. And then Rosen again, like I say, tomorrow. Time now for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Local, family-owned, highly qualified, and, of course, affordable. They provide everything from whole house electrical safety inspections to 24-hour emergency electrical repairs. Lighting, outlets and appliance work, rewiring for any room on your property. And Affordable Electric is your old home specialist with 30-plus years of experience. You can count on Affordable Electric. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric. Shockingly affordable. Peek at the Purple. The aforementioned Kevin Sievert, we happened to bring him up in the last segment talking about, if we were at the combine, you talk to a number of different people. You talk to... The other thing I'd ask KOC right away, not KOC, but Cam would be, did you sign that extension yet? I mean, are you getting a little nervous? Do you think that would just shut the interview down right there? And would that be wrong to ask that? See, I don't think that's wrong. And
you should ask about a contract extension. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah. It's like...
That's what a journalist should do.
The head coach got his. He's basically, why can I never, somebody's told us, you know that Egyptian contraption? I think it was started in Egypt, I think, where there's like two really long like rake handles, and then there's a little like seat in the middle, and there's a canopy, and then 4 people will carry him in, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Sort of?
No.
Not really? So you got these 2 really long sticks, and you have one guy on each end of the stick, and then there's like a little tab on the top. I can't remember what the name of that thing is, because that's basically what they did for KOC. I mean, he's just like, he's prodigal. He's just not, prodigal son would not be the right one, but he's a conquering hero.
The chosen one. He's
coach of the year. And now I am king. And then, you got Cam. It's like, well, we'll get to you. We'll figure this thing out eventually. So that's the question I would ask him. But we were talking about Kevin Seifert, and he wrote a piece a couple of days ago. What's next for Vikings backfield? Free agent Aaron Jones. And boy, after reading, well done. I mean, Seifert, he leaves no stone unturned, or as I like to say, he leaves no sand track unraked, no ball mark unrepaired, and no divot unreplaced in his relentless pursuit of the truth, the whole truth, or some semblance of the truth. But he talks about Jones. It says it seems safe to rule out at least one possibility as the Vikings sort through their backfield options. They don't want a repeat of their heavy use of veteran Aaron Jones. He played all 18 games, Tenneby. He had career highs in touches, carries, offensive snaps. He made it through all 18 games, though he did nurse hip, rib, and quadriceps injuries. They had wanted to go with a 2-back. Most teams do. Most teams want to, you have your feature back, and then you have a guy that'll get your 4, 6, 8 carries, whatever it is, to sort of pitch in. I wanted it to be Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. The Vikings decided they wanted it to be Ty Chandler.
Yes. And then Cam Akers eventually.
And then Cam Akers, because Chandler just wasn't cutting it, so they brought him in. But then it goes on to say, if he is best suited for more of a rotational role, Jones remains one of the best options in a presumptive free agent class. It also includes, and he has some other names, $7 million contract. His $7 million contract last year ranked 14th among running backs in average per year. And he could have multiple suitors among teams that want to sign the veteran running back. And then apparently so then you got to decide, well, do we want him back? And I don't know. I guess at what price? And then you do need someone else, because it doesn't seem like Akers or Chandler are the guy, right? So then I think you didn't you tell me that the running back class is supposed to be pretty deep in the
stacked and as deep as we've maybe ever seen.
So then do you go that route? And I think Seifert brings it up, but he also says, well, with so many other needs and only 4 draft picks as we speak, a 1, the compensatory between 3 and 4 and the 2/5, you don't have a lot of draft capital. So it's like, can you even get one of those guys? One of the like last year was a deep quarterback class. We got the 5th, the 5 guy. We were I'm not saying McCarthy was the 5th best of those. We won't know that until he plays, but we ended up taking the 5th quarterback in the draft. If we take the 5th running back, does he pan out or not? So then you have to dive into free agency and get some. We got plenty of money, but certainly the running back position is something the Vikings need to address. But then, as we talked about, Tim, even it says in another story I read, it says Vikings have several needs, interior line for the offense, defensive interior line, defensive backs, running backs. It's almost like that bit that I used to do where I would say, their team's really close right now. They just need 3 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 defensive backs, a quarterback, a running back, and a place kicker. And it seems like it's almost that way. It's strange to be thinking that way when you had a team that's just coming off a 14-3 season. We know it didn't end how we wanted. We had the 2 bad losses to the Kitties and the Rams. But a team that went 14-3, and you're going, we got a lot of work to do yet. And that's, again, because of free agency. There are players that we signed in just 1-year deals, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And, are they coming back? They're going to need raises. We got plenty of money under the cap. So we're in a good situation. I'm not claiming that the Vikings are in any kind of trouble. But tough division. Detroit should be strong. The rumors continue. I continue to see them. And just because people say Myles Garrett wants to play in Detroit, he wants to play with Hutchinson, and Hutchinson wants to play, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. But boy, if that did happen, Tenneby, that makes that Lions. I mean, those are two of your best pass rushers in pro football on the same team, playing at the same time. And then you add all the other pieces that they already have on the offensive side of the ball. If they stay healthy, they're going to be a tough team. And then Green Bay is going to be a tough team, I would think. I mean, they're very young. They had trouble with the better teams. I mean, their 5 losses was it 2 to Minnesota, 2 to Detroit, and then who else did they lose to in the regular season? I think it was another top-tier team. I don't remember.
Well, Philadelphia.
First game of the year. Right, that's right. So you're losing to top-tier teams, but they're pretty good. We don't know what will happen with Chicago. I mean, it's possible now with Ben Johnson there. Is he a miracle worker? Is that offense, is he a quarterback whisperer? Does he get with Caleb Williams until 23 draws power trap? And all of a sudden he's brilliant, so it's going to be tough. And there's a lot of spots to fill. I know people don't want to hear it and they think, I'm just being common. But I to me, there's nothing off the table, including trading McCarthy and getting draft picks and getting another free agent quarterback. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I think the only way we accrue more draft picks would be we'd have to trade our first, right? That's 24th overall. Is that the number? Or is it 26? Maybe it's 26. But you have your number 1 overall pick. You could trade that. I don't know what you can get for it. I mean, maybe, that's why you read these mock drafts or just speculation on what teams will do. And I saw one that said, the Vikings will trade with Washington. Washington's got like 29 and we have 26, I think. Well, do we know Washington has any interest in trading up? I mean, how do you know that? I mean, have you actually talked to them and they said to you, we're going to target the Vikings. We want to move up to 26. You don't know, even if that's what they're thinking, that by the time the first part of the draft happens, when you get through like pick 20, the guy that you were hoping would still be around, he's still, like when the Vikings, when they went from 11 to 10, they moved 1 spot for fear that McCarthy might go before them, before the 11th pick, right? So maybe Washington wants somebody, and they would be willing to trade with the Vikings, but then that player they wanted went 23. Now they have no interest. So the idea that we can trade that first and get another first-round pick and then maybe some more, it's possible, certainly. But it's far from the finished product. Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. Affordable-Electric. Affordable Electric. Shockingly affordable. Tenneby, I don't know where to start. I actually have in my notebook page, I got a couple of things I want to talk about. I'll basically spin a wheel of topic in my head and pick one out. We'll do that next here in the Common Man program with the Fan.
Join the Power Trip Zach Halverson tonight at Wild Boar in Oakdale for a Michelob Ultra Wolves watch party. Get there at 7 p.m. to watch your Timberwolves in action and to sign up for your chance to qualify for first-round playoff tickets this year. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Timeout. We've not made the playoffs yet. I think that's still in question. As soon as we get we're at full strength, Tenneby, nothing's going to stop us now. We still need to get...
we're just 3.5 games out.
In Gobert.
Ahead.
Yeah. In Gobert, didn't play again last night. They lost to the Thunder, Oklahoma City. Is that what their nickname is, Thunder?
Thunder.
They don't have DiVincenzo, or Rosen likes to go back and forth with the pronunciation. Sometimes he likes to call him DiVincenzo. Other times he likes to call him DiVincenzo.
Taves toes.
Even though he knew his name was DiVincenzo, he still would call him DiVincenzo. And I asked him why. And he said, well, it's just because I like to use both pronunciations. That's why I sometimes call him Rosen, and other times I call him Fraud. Because they both work, right? And then we also got to get back Julius Randle. How about the NBA with their... We play Oklahoma. Did we play like almost 3 games in a row? We played them, then had time off. It's
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Why? I mean, I've always wondered. Have you ever wondered this, Jeremy? Whoever puts the schedules together for any sport, particularly NBA, NHL, and MLB, where there's so many teams and so many games, and you have to, you used to have balanced and unbalanced schedules, so you had to play them a certain amount of times. And then you have to worry about, especially like with the hockey and basketball teams. Well, what if Adelaide is coming in concert at Target for 2 nights? Well, you can't have a home game there. But if you want them to play Oklahoma City there, what if Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys are playing an OKC at a concert there? So putting the schedules together is probably fairly complicated. It almost seems like somebody got themselves boxed into a corner here and went, oh, what are we going to do now? What the hell? Let's just have them play OKC 3 out of 4 times, right? Because it's just, you'd like to have it spread out a little bit. Though I did read where, I think it might have been Chet Holmgren. I think it was Zagoda cornered him because, Holmgren from here, he played for Minnehaha Academy, was the number 1 overall pick. First year, didn't even get to play. He was hurt like he was trying to guard LeBron in a preseason game, got hurt, and he never played. Then he played every game last year, but he's been hurt a significant amount this year. But he was in town, stayed a little bit longer to visit with friends and family, and Zagoda caught up with him. And I think he said something. What's interesting about this, though, it's almost like playoff basketball because you play a team, you lose. They lost in the first game, and now we make adjustments and think about what we did, and then now we win, and now we're going to play them again. So it's almost playoff-like.
I was going to say, I actually wish, now 3 out of 4, not necessarily, but I wish they would play teams back-to-back more often, that. Right? So if you remember during the pandemic, the NHL kind of had like that shortened season where I think they were playing the same team 4 times in a row, right? Or at least they were playing back-to-back against the same team to cut down on travel and cut down on the amount of spread of the disease. Mm-hmm. And even like right now, the Wild come out of their break. They played Detroit on Saturday at Detroit. Tomorrow night, they host Detroit. And I kind of like that because, one, it was a great game.
Okay.
2, there's physicality. Brock Faber took a hit high. Matt Boldy's out there protect him. There's a scrum, right? Like that stuff carries over. So you already know, like tomorrow's game, there's going to be a little bit different intensity when you're just playing a team. You got guys you don't like on that team and stuff they did in that game. So I wish they would do it more often. 3 out of 4 might be extreme, but back-to-backs I think is great.
Speaking of hockey, a theory floating around, I think it was trending on Twitter. You didn't come in Friday because you were devastated by the United States loss to Canada. Is there any truth? Is there any truth to that? That you were just devastated? That you're actually embarrassed for the United States of America?
You weren't burning your flag after that night?
No, I was not.
I mean, to lose to Canada?
No,
of all teams? We're having a tariff war with them right now, and then we lose to them on the ice?
I brought it to half-mast, and then I raised it back up the next morning. No, your thoughts on that? I mean, it was everything you said it would be. I mean,
game was great.
You figured it'd be a great game. Apparently, it was played like it was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Championship, and Connor McDavid is not overrated, apparently, because
when you leave him all alone in the middle of the slot,
and he
probably not a great idea there.
Did he one-time it? Did he wire it?
No, it was a catch and release.
Catch and release.
He didn't have to one-time it because he had so much time out there. He didn't have to get it off too quickly, though he's got a quick release. It was a great game. I've always thought international hockey is the best hockey.
Correct.
It's the best players in the world. They just play differently. Not that they're not playing hard when they're in the NHL. And obviously in the playoffs we see them play hard. But it's just a different level of pride and passion and intensity. It's best on best. And I've always loved international hockey the best. I've been disappointed that the league hasn't allowed their professionals to play a whole lot of international play. And this was kind of the compromise of, at least we can make money off of it. I thought the entire tournament was an absolute home run, grand slam. And I would expect more now. Obviously, they got the Olympics next year. Mm-hmm. But even after that, I would expect more international. They can't turn it down anymore, right? Like when your players play that hard. And I don't know if we'll ever know the extent of how much it's growing the game, right? I don't know how many casuals or people that weren't paying attention to hockey before. But I think having that many eyeballs on your product, having it more on ESPN, all over social media, it can't be a bad thing for your product.
Let me ask you a question.
Should be promoted more.
Let's say they're going so hard in that championship game, Connor McDavid breaks his ankle.
Well, I mean, that's the issue. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk in that game, I mean, he was already hurt going into it.
Okay.
He barely played in that game. Come to find out, he might miss the rest of the year for Florida. So that is going to be the one thing that's going to hold this whole thing back, is owners going, I'm not going to risk the health of my players.
And I can understand that.
Sure.
But there's also The flip side to that is, because you hear this all the time, and it's true, well, you could get hurt in the first game back, right?
Sure.
The first game back from that tournament, Connor McDavid could break his ankle and he's out anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. You play and you either get hurt or you don't.
The pros outweigh the cons to me. Now, obviously, there's cons in which guys are going to get beat up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But the pro is it's the best hockey you can find, and that is great for growing your sport and exposing your sport.
You're wrong on the best hockey you can find. Of course, you never saw my boot hockey team play.
I did not. Do you have any tape of it?
I wished I did. We were so good at boot. I've been trying to get the old band back together. I'll just text my former teammates and all we'll say is boot, ... boot. One guy said absolutely not. He's retired. Boob. But I think he kind of said, well, maybe. Then there's Worlds and Cleve and several others. And
you should have one of those old timers games.
I want to play boot again.
Yeah.
And you know what? So I've been. Did I tell you I want to be a minimalist? You know what a minimalist is?
Yes. The amount of prep you put into each show.
Well, that's I guess professionally I'm a minimalist, but like at my house, I've been this whole entire winter. I started last winter and got so overwhelmed I gave up. I've been trying to eliminate clutter and things that I've collected all these years that I thought I wanted to keep. And it's hard to get rid of some stuff. I actually feel liberated when I do, though. Have you ever said, I'm going to get rid of this because I don't want it? You go, like, for instance, I had like 40 bobbleheads, twins. Anytime they would do that. Remember when the bobblehead thing was all the rage? And they would send all the media people a bobblehead with a news release wanting us to talk it up. And I would take the bobblehead and I toss it aside. I gave them to my mother-in-law because she's a big sports fan, loves the Twins. She had them displayed prominently at her house. And then she passed away, and then I got them all back. I just gave them up last night. I gave them to a friend who's going to give them to his cousin. I don't want them. And they're not worth too terribly much.
No.
Maybe $10 a bobblehead, so I could have got, what's 10 times $400, I guess. But I'd rather just give them to somebody. But it was hard because I many times said, I'm going to give these away. No, I'm not going to give these away. And so, why was I talking about this? Oh, boot. Somebody just sent me a text that said boot, ... and that reminded me. My brother, my brother had bought at an old, the Army surplus store. Does it still exist down on First Avenue in Minneapolis or First Street? The Army surplus store where you'd go and you could buy old Army jackets. I have an old, an Army jacket, like a tank commander's jacket of some sort. They still wear it every once in a while. But my brother got this duffel bag. Coolest thing ever. It's got straps and it's got a chain through it too. It's just cooler than heck. And it was sitting in my storage room. And something was in it. I said, I wonder what is in here. And it was packed tight. Opened it up. You know what it was, Tennessee? My hockey pads, my goalie pads. And I got misty. I started to tear up a little bit because I'm just like, look at these things. Maybe I was misty because they kind of smelled a little moldy because they've been packed in there. When you get that, not mold smell, but what is it? Musty smell.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But man, so maybe that's why my eyes watered. Maybe it really wasn't being emotional, but I thought about boot again. So to me, and then it tend to be, if you played the highlight in the Open, do you really think that game between Canada and the United States was as good as Holy Cross versus the Gophers? I just don't think it matches. I mean, you can say it is. That's up to you. But you heard the emotion in the play-by-play guy's voice. Did you get that excited when no, the United States didn't win?
They didn't win.
Had they won,
they were up in the game at one point.
Do you think you would have had that same excitement level as those guys did? Yeah, had they won? I don't think so.
No, probably not.
Probably not. Here's something else that came into the KFAN Bradshaw and Brian text line. It says, is directed towards you. He goes, you can always tell when you're talking hockey. Tenna's voice inflection goes up and he pays attention. And I would debate that because like when I start talking about my golf round, you're very attentive and you get really excited when when Wheel of Topic just happens to land on my golf round. Wheel of Topic will return soon, by the way.
I get attentive because I know I have to carry the show for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because
you're not going to respond to anything I'm about to say.
I missed that United States.
But that you're depending on me.
I missed the United States Canada Championship game. I did miss it. We got to get Diego to go. coming soon, wheel of topic. Right? You know, when you tease something, we got to get them to do coming soon.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming.
Wheel of topics.
Yeah, it's coming. Wheel of topics.
Stay tuned to the Common Man program.
Yeah, let's do that. By the way, did you know I've heard now again? I'm just taking the word of through the grapevine. I'm the official, unofficial ambassador of Minnesota Golf. Tomorrow, Montgomery National open.
Really?
Public and parochial.
How's that possible?
Public and parochial. However, carts and caddies are 2 hours late. I heard the Refuge is opening on Friday.
They don't have snow.
It melts fast. It melts fast. Tend to be
not that fast.
Yeah, but different parts of the Twin Cities don't get as much snow as you know. You could have like that forecast say, I'll get 5 to 8 in Woodbury, and then up in Maple Grove they get 1 to 2. So they must not have. So a couple of courses for sure opening up, and they might be others.
It was just nice yesterday to have our streets now getting all the snow off. That's now we go back to throwing a baseball around and then at least rollerblading out there.
I'm wearing shorts today.
What?
It's 55 degrees.
Why?
It's 55 degrees for a high.
You're just like Samson this morning. I told him, hey, we're going to get top 50 today. He comes down in a T-shirt. I'm like, well,
yeah,
it's going to be warmer. It's not T-shirt weather.
You know what? Samson's built different. He's a tough guy. You're soft. That's fine.
So then he put a long sleeve on, and then he wanted to walk outside without a jacket. I'm like, no, you're still putting a jacket on.
Yeah. Well, it's
just 50. It ain't 75.
Baby brother Peter would never wear a winter coat when he was living back here. Never
Why?
wear one. Well, because I'm just going to get in the car, and then I'm going to get out of the car, and I'm going to go into the school.
Yeah, what happens if the car goes into a ditch?
I know, but he wouldn't listen to me. But when he went back to the Ohio State University, and he knew that he had to walk 20 minutes across campus, he said, I probably should get a winter coat. And I said, yeah, you probably should. So he brought one with him. He got an internship, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, for 2026, which is the important kind. At a private investment in San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
He's going to be in San Fran for
flowers in his hair.
Yeah, not this upcoming summer, but next summer. And then, from what I understand, generally speaking, if you get an internship, you get hired by that company. And that private equity stuff and investment banking, let's just say it pays a bit more than interim producer. I mean, I'm doing research, and it's like your starting salary's like $165,000, $170,000, $175,000 just to start.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get, if you're really good at it, you're a buyer, and you get 5-6 years in, you could be making $800,000-$900,000 a year.
Incredible.
Boy, I just hope he remembers me.
You'll be calling him ATM.
I'll be calling him
in the future.
Oh yeah, then I don't. Then if he's like, I'm not going to milk this as long as I can, cold, dead, rigor mortis laden. But like, if let's say speed ahead and he's making 8, I'm telling you, for all I've done for you. Now I know I've annoyed you too, but for all I've done for you, you got to give me a Honda a year, and I'm good. Just for a couple of years, and I'm out of this place. Somebody who doesn't have to worry about money is Justin Ishbia. You heard the news,
yes.
Right? He's out. This is a CBS Sports story. No! Justin Ishbia, one of the owners of the NBA's Phoenix Suns, had in recent weeks looked like a favorite to buy the Minnesota Twins from the Polat family. Instead, it appears that he might be shifting his priorities to becoming the successor of White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf. He owns a small portion. He is a limited with the White Sox. But Reinsdorf is like 89 years old. And the story says, this according to The Athletic, Ishbia has abandoned his bid for the team to instead acquire the White Sox. He's already the owner of a small stake, but now he's looking to grab a controlling interest, which would mean becoming the top owner of the team over Reinsdorf. And I'm sure Reinsdorf's at the point of his life where he's got more behind him than he does ahead of him, and you're trying to put your affairs in order. You don't want the team, and if you don't have heirs that want the team, like for instance, obviously, it's apparent that there are no members of the Polat family that have any desire to acquire to stay with the team. Right? They would rather make, and it's my fault. I get it. That's what Suhan and Lavelle said. You remember, you heard the podcast. They said it was my fault. That I was the one that forced the Polats to sell because my relentless
I always love that.
Harping with the 100,000. It started with the 50,000 watt soapbox, and we moved to the FM side. I just kept on it and kept on, and they finally said, enough's enough. We don't want to hear it anymore. It's not worth it.
Ultimately, though, was it your fault, though? Because you were just playing to the fans. You were just playing to the audience.
Yeah,
so it's kind of the audience's fault.
You're probably right, but I don't think the poll ads realized I was just playing, because I didn't really believe that. I think the poll ads don't even just spend any money at all. But I knew my listeners wanted to hear that. That's according to Lavelle, and I still tease Lavelle about that all the time. He was in the other day. I said, he talks about the column he wrote. I go, well, do you really believe what you wrote, or are you just trying to play to your audience? And then he just turns around and walks away. It's seriously, that's what he accused me of. Oh, that's what I do, but you don't. You only write what you really feel, but other people, no, you just make it up because you're playing to your audience. I never heard anything more preposterous in my life. Well, and then the story goes on to say, here's what's the Twins are the 21st most valuable property in baseball, worth an estimated $1.46 million.
Billion, probably.
$billion. Wait, no. I saw this in a... Oh, here's what it says. Here it is. Here's the part. Things appeared to get down the road enough the last several weeks with the Twins that Ishbia's interest in grabbing the controlling stake in the White Sox means the Twins are hustling to regroup. The Athletic says it, quote, left the Twins stunned. Then it says that the poll lads have now said everything's on the table. Well, then, of course, as CBS Sports point out, part of the everything, you ready for this now? Part of the everything, there would be the possibility that the Pollad family simply retain ownership and decline to sell the Twins. Which was something we speculated about when it was first announced. That a bunch of people kick the tires and you finally just go, we're really not happy with any of the offers. They're not, we think it's worth more, and so we're just going to keep the club. But, that's really cynical, and why would you go through all the machinations and, basically perpetrate a fraud on the sporting public, saying you want to sell when you really had no interest in selling at all, right? But,
well, and whether they were lies or the truth, they made it seem like there was this great market for their team, and it wasn't just the Ishbias. So even if they drop out, what happened to all these other ownership groups that apparently had interest?
Well, I'm assuming there are others. Look, I don't think there's only one person that would want to buy a Major League Baseball team. There's so many. And now there's frauds, too, because we've gone through them here. Remember, we had Tom Clancy, the author, was going to buy the Vikings. We had, wasn't there a guy named Fowler?
Yeah, Reggie. Is it Reggie or Ricky?
Yeah, I think it was Ricky.
Well, Ricky's the golfer.
Ricky. I think it was Reggie, and I think he wanted, I can't remember if he was Vikings or Twins. I think he was Vikings, and somebody else wanted to buy, Don Bieber wanted to buy the Twins. Though apparently, I think he did have the money. You could, apparently, what I've heard is in the Triad area of the Carolinas, they voted against funding for a stadium, so that's why he bowed out. But I would assume there's got to be somebody that wants to buy the club, right? There has to be somebody out there. There's another. I know, contrary to popular belief, the country's not running out of rich people. There's still plenty of them out there. There's always somebody that goes, I'd love to own a pro sports team and be, just be a part of that clique, that group. So I'm sure they'll eventually get an offer for it.
But the Wolves have interest.
Yeah.
Why aren't they thrown in there?
I just don't. I think they've got I don't know this. I would just think maybe they're not even that big a base. You can buy for business interests,
sure,
right? Just because it's a business investment. But I just think, because don't they own the soccer team in town? Or do they have, they're down in Tampa or something? Don't they own a soccer team?
Yes,
they own
somewhere they do.
Somewhere they own a soccer team. I think they were football fans first and foremost, especially Ziggy. We've told the story forever. He says when he was a kid, he had a choice. Giants preseason game, Woodstock. He chose to go to the Giants preseason game. I would have taken Woodstock, and I probably would have overdosed on the brown acid, and I wouldn't even be here right now. But Yeah, so someone will buy it eventually. And I just don't think the Wills, maybe the Wills would, I don't know. But I don't think they have any interest in buying the club. We've got a giveaway today, too, before the day is over. Lakefront Music Fest is back. It's bigger and better than ever. Rock Night on Friday, July 11th. How about this? Loverboy. 38 special. And headlined by Feels Like the First. God, we should just do the music ourselves, Tennessee. Do you have a copy of the script? You have the giveaway sheet? Do you have
I can find it. You want me to read it?
Yeah,
then you'll do the music?
And read it like you're supposed to read it.
Lakefront Music Fest is back and bigger than ever. Don't miss out on Rock Night on Friday, July 11th, headlined by Foreigner.
You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice my love.
With support from 38 Special.
So hold on loosely.
And Loverboy.
There are any Loverboy songs. No, aren't they? Loving every minute of it. Is that Loverboy?
I think that's Loverboy.
Loving every minute
Tickets
of it.
are on sale now. Lakefront Music Fest.
I've been waiting for a girl like you. So we'll give away a pair of tickets to that before the show is over. Let's take a break. When we do, Tennessee on the other side, we'll have 5-3-4 for us.
Loverboy, by the way, working for the weekend.
Yeah, working for the weekend.
Loving every minute of it. The kid is hot tonight.
Oh.
Take me to the top. Turn me loose.
Oh, turn me loose. Oh,
When it's over, Hot Girls in Love.
They got some bangers, is what they got.
Oh, yeah, 5 questions next. Wild and Gophers and Wolves. Oh, my.